I apologize in advance. I'm with comicbook.com. I do have to ask some nerdy questions. I know you can't confirm or deny
Always
if
apologize.
Qui-Gon Jinn is making an appearance in Obi-Wan, so I'm not even going to ask that. But would you be interested in returning to Qui-Gon if given the opportunity?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I think so. If it was a film, yes. I'm a bit of a snob
okay.
when it comes to TV, I must admit. But
No, you're
I just
not.
like the
You're
big
not a
screen.
snob.
You know?
Yeah. Me too.
He did Family Guy.
Qui-Gon, I can't believe it's 24 years since we made The Phantom Menace. I just cannot believe where the time has gone.
I know.
But it was a terrific experience shooting that film.
The big screen. Just project it on the wall of your garage in your backyard. That's how we're going to watch Obi-Wan episodes. Well, this is a very interesting quote from Liam Neeson. It's like 24 years. Like you've been in a conversation recently about how long it's been since you've been on screen in live action. I'm just saying, like, unless he's got every year he has a tally mark on his wall. He's like, now we're at 23 years. Now we're at 24 years. So when these interviewers, Chris...
I love this dance. Can't give away anything.
Yeah, it's become its hilarious little subgenre of interview content right now, where these actors who are out promoting other things get asked things about Marvel or Star Wars, and they have to come up with this little tap dance, and they're all good at it in interesting ways, but...
Well, it's a lot of money, and a lot of money you'll lose if you don't do it if you say the wrong thing.
Yeah, we want to thank comicbook.com and Chris Killian for that great interview moment with Liam Neeson. Thank you for always asking such great questions. And let's get into this. Welcome back to New Rockstars. Liam Neeson finally breaks the silence on returning as Qui-Gon Jinn, and it turns out his particular set of skills are only for cinema. None of this buffering bullshit you stream on your cracked 24-inch Vizio that folds back into the wall, Michael Scott style. No, only AMC IMAX. Where if it's here, it's real.
If Nicole Kidman doesn't greet you before the film, standing, sitting, eating popcorn, drinking a Sprite, then I don't want to be in it.
Yeah, no Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's not there for the small screen, baby. He's not there for your phone.
Unless they're tablets for Moses.
But the reason we laugh about this is, Liam Neeson has lent his iconic voice to many TV series and streaming titles over the years, including voicing Qui-Gon Jinn in the Clone Wars. So is this only in a film, quote, actually a bit of a tap dance, a cover story for what will actually be a real cameo in Kenobi?
I just scared a cat.
I think every morning there's just cats that just howl when we start this show. Just like, not today, please, not today.
Not again, not again.
Oh, well, ever was there ever a show so clever as Erik and Tommy talking Star Wars. Dun, 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 dun.
The musical theater people are going to be back on board with you, Erik. You've got a lot of...
They're like, oh, our kitty ears are burning. And they all do their creepy little march where they zip their fursuits off and there's more fur underneath.
Well, you're my Jellicle choice always, Erik. You're always my Jellicle choice.
The amount of weeks I've tried to force Gus the theater cat into talking about Gus the goldfish on Moon Knight, and just haven't had a good window for it yet, because MT would shut that shit down in a heartbeat.
Yes, that's
not
right.
interested.
He will not suffer that.
No. Well, this week on Wookieeleaks, we're going to break down the likelihood of Qui-Gon Jinn making an appearance in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and if that happens, what fascinating conversation will they have? Because they got a lot to talk about. A little later this episode, we're going to discuss which Star Wars music has had the biggest impact. Because Star Wars is music, and John Williams has been an equal partner in the success of this franchise, if not the leading reason it's been successful, depending on who you talk to. Time is running out to grab yourself the limited edition Moon Knight Latest Obsession shirt over at newrockstarsmerch.com. Those bad boys are going to get banished back into Ushapti form very quickly to make room for the Multiverse of Madness Latest Obsession shirt. That's going to be great. So they're running out. I don't know how many we have left. I don't think it's much. So grab one of those and all kinds of cool merch that helps support the channel at newrockstarsmerch.com. And another pretty big announcement from New Rockstars. Mm-hmm. The channel is going to be launching a daily live stream show starting a week from today, Monday, May 2nd. Tommy is going to be part of it. Other folks behind the scenes and New Rockstars, some familiar faces are going to be on it. This is going to be a live in-person shoot that gives you a behind-the-scenes kind of chit chat that happens every day
Yes.
at the New Rockstars Burbank office. Just a little heads up, I am not at that Burbank office. I'm here in San Francisco. The Blue Dungeon's everywhere, but
Yes.
usually it's in San Francisco.
Yes.
So I'm not going to be joining that conversation every week, but it's going to show you the amazing conversation that happens behind the scenes. It's going to be super funny. I've seen some early test screenings. You may have seen one on the channel on Thursday, so you'll be able to like get a peek into the fun, amazing mind of Tommy Bechtold and friends over there.
From the terrifying visionary mind of Tommy Bechtold. No, we're very excited, and unfortunately, we cannot summon Erik by saying his name 3 times, like Beetlejuice. Although we wish we could, but hopefully,
when you do that, I get transported to some weird dimension that it's neither here nor there.
Yes, it's just not fair to you
just
because
appreciate
we never know where you're going to end up. So yeah, so we hope Erik will join us at some point down in the mothership. But until then, we'll march along, and we're gonna have a lot of fun on that show. But we're gonna have a lot of fun on this show now, Erik.
Yeah, we are. This ain't going anywhere.
Guess what? The break room that starts May 2nd. Last time I checked, it's April something.
Yeah.
25th.
And when that launches, yeah, it's a week from now. But like, this isn't going to be replacing any of the content you see on the channel. We're going to be doing even more blue screen solo host videos, more breakdowns of shows, more after shows. The reasons that you already subscribe to New Rockstars, those aren't going anywhere. We're going to be doubling down on those in addition to launching this.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time of expansion at this channel.
You're just all so hungry for content. We got to feed you.
Feed me, Tommy.
Yeah.
But
Travel Horse, we're doing it. Let's see how many musicals we can fit in today.
Yeah, we'll work it all in.
Brigadoon.
But when this launches next Monday, you'll be able to actually start watching it every weekday afternoon, Monday through Friday, starting next week on the New Rockstars YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be real fun. All right, so talking Star Wars and Liam Neeson this week. Tommy, what's our big question for Star Wars?
Well, as we saw in that interview, we're all wondering, will Liam Neeson cameo as Qui-Gon Jinn or not?
Yeah, Liam Neeson seemed to deny appearing in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, saying at first that he'd be interested, but then suddenly catching himself and saying, "Oh, but in a film," suggesting that he's a snob and would only want to be on the big screen as Qui-Gon Jinn.
I think that's such a tell. The fact that he insulted himself and called himself a snob, like that's such a tell that he knew he was getting in troubled waters. And he's like, I'm just going to charm my way out of this.
Yeah. And I thought it was a pretty good answer. It's just one that, like, we know. Like, because it's a very artificial excuse. Because Neeson has never held himself to that before. Sure, he's known as more of a film actor, but he's totally appeared in a number of TV roles and streaming series. You mentioned Family Guy. He was in Netflix's The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which people streamed on their home TVs. Just actors these days know as well as anyone that content right now is just being streamed on home devices. And it's not like Liam Neeson has been a stranger to Lucasfilm in recent years because he voiced Qui-Gon's ghostly presence in 3 episodes of The Clone Wars. Season 3, Episode 15, Overlords, when Qui-Gon's Force Ghost tells Obi-Wan about Mortis, and then followed by the amazing Episode 17, when Qui-Gon's ghost meets Obi-Wan in Mortis to tell him about those 3 Force deities, the Father, the Son, and the Daughter, and their interest in Anakin. Folks, this is a hugely important arc for the Star Wars lore and mythology. Everything we know about Ahsoka, why she has the bird, her connections, her deeper mystical connections to Anakin Skywalker. In fact, like there was a believed earlier draft of The Rise of Skywalker that might have addressed the Dagger of Mortis, and that's why this random dagger was in the movies, that this was going to be the Dagger of Mortis. And then they backed away from that and then ended up making it into a Goonies clue. But this insanely important storyline from the Clone Wars, Liam Neeson was there for it. He is what lent it so much authority, was just his voice bringing us into that mystery. Now, Liam Neeson did come back in season 6, episode 11 of Clone Wars. You know, one of these, we aren't sure where the series is going at this point, Star Wars episodes of this final season of Clone Wars right before they canceled it, but it's still an awesome episode to check out. Qui-Gon appears to Yoda in this episode. But then, of course, Neeson comes back in The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. He was one of the many Jedi voices who returned. Yes. So the guy has had no problem checking in with Dave Filoni in an ADR booth multiple times in recent years.
Yes.
So, when we watch this interview now, it just looks like the kind of denial game we've seen before, where these poor guys got to sit through junket after junket promoting other movies that they're more passionate about in this moment.
Yes.
And then they have to have some kind of like answer for when the Marvel or the Star Wars question inevitably comes up. So I empathize. I guess I can't really empathize. I sympathize what Neeson's going through in this moment, and I love the guy. But if Lucasfilm could get Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen to return and to be the stars of this show, just a vocal cameo by Liam Neeson, at the very least, after he's done this multiple times with Dave Filoni, it feels very likely. Yes. And I think set photos from Entertainment Weekly even show us the moment Obi-Wan reunites with Qui-Gon's Force Ghost or some Force Ghost. Like, we take a look at this photo. It shows Obi-Wan alone in his cave dwelling, but this weird blue light that lights up the room just in this dim way. And it looks like the source of the light, at least in the foreground, is coming from the foreground because it's on our side of this cave archway and it's reflecting back at us. So it's like he woke up in the middle of the night and then looks out in the darkness of the cave in astonishment as if seeing a familiar face. Because otherwise, no one knows where he lives. He's a hermit. Who else would be in this room? Who else would he be looking at or greeting in this moment, if not a Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn or a dream of Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker, or Yoda, or, who knows?
Jar Jar?
Jar Jar. But I think what's interesting about rewatching those Ghosts of Mortis scenes with Qui-Gon is how resolute the character still is, even in death, that Anakin Skywalker, in his mind, was the chosen one. So if Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon reunite in the series, this will be the first time Qui-Gon is really challenged with the inevitable truth that his recruitment of Anakin doomed all of them. And at least at this point in history, feels like a huge mistake. And it feels like we're going to get a parallel, actually, to Luke's chat with Obi-Wan's Force Ghost on Dagobah in Return of the Jedi, where Obi-Wan famously told him, well, what I told you was true from a certain point of view. Luke's like, from a certain point of view?
Yeah, what does that mean? You're gaslighting me.
And tell me, how amazing is it going to be if Obi-Wan got that bullshit line from his former master, Qui-Gon? Yeah. Like, Qui-Gon could say, well, Skywalker was the chosen one from a certain point of view. Yeah, and then Obi-Wan's like, I'm going to pocket that and use that. Yeah.
Obi-Wan's just writing it down in a joke journal. He's like, hang on a second. I always keep one of these with me just in case.
When they're in their netherworlds of the Force, appearing as Force Ghosts, it's just like written on the back of the guitar there. And they're like, oh, okay. Tommy, I want to ask you, how do you think Qui-Gon will react and respond when Obi-Wan calls him out for bringing Anakin into their lives? Is he going to apologize, or is he going to be like, just wait. Bringing in the Skywalkers into this is actually, in the big frame of reference, actually going to be more important than you think?
Just historically, Force Ghosts in the movies, anyway, from what I can say, are pretty stoic, right? Like they're pretty like level-headed and even-keeled, and they don't necessarily show a ton of like emotion or like I can't see him getting like angry. Although it would be amazing if like we get a Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon like just getting annoyed with Obi-Wan. But I think more than likely what you said, the first thing you said, where he'll be like, maybe it didn't end up the way I thought it would, but it's going to reach the conclusion we want, just with a different Skywalker. Maybe he'll say there is another. Maybe he'll say there is another. And Obi-Wan's just, everyone's just plagiarizing Qui-Gon. Yoda's plagiarizing.
Well, I think it'd be fun if, like, I like it when ghosts in all fiction are kind of sassy.
Yeah, me too. I love a sassy ghost.
Yeah, they've like learned nothing from being in this realm. They've just become more petty, shitty versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what ghosts become. I don't think they become like spiritual or zen in any way. I think they're just like they're little stinkers,
Yeah.
So they're like Beetlejuice. So I think
I'm a little stinker ghost.
I'm a little stinker.
Stinker was deleted from Ghostbusters Afterlife because he tested so poorly with audiences.
And then he got moved to Ghostbusters, and then became Slimer.
Yeah.
But I think Qui-Gon's going to be a jackass. I think he's going to be really mean and say, no, don't tell me that I'm wrong. I did the right thing. And eventually, corruption was going to collapse the Senate, but I gave us a new hope in the form of his offspring. And he's like, that's why it's so important to continue this mission, because while Anakin wasn't the chosen one was swimming around in one of his nutsacks. And then
it's too early for that.
Obi-Wan's like, ugh, stinker. It's too early. I was just woke up in this cave. Let me go back to bed. Leave me alone. It wasn't his nutsucks, Obi-Wan. What, they call you Ben now? They call you Ben? No, I know your name.
He just whips it out. He's like, right here. They're gone though because he's a ghost.
I told you that I would find you and I will kill you. I just think this is a great place to have this argument about, like, you know, the balance to the Force did happen because the Jedi needed to be called out on their bullshit. Now, yes, it sounds like I'm creating a justification for genocide and slaughter of children of Jedi Order. No, not at all. But I think the story needed to happen because we needed our mythology stories to make our videos about.
Yeah, they did it for us.
I think there's a great metatextual conversation that can happen between these two characters. It needs to happen between these two characters. And I want to see it in the form of a crass, angry ghost.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% on board with you here. I have no pushback on that. That is how I want it to happen, too.
Neeson can do it.
Yes.
Neeson is a great actor. Get this man a script.
Yes.
I assume they already have. Whatever. If he's not in the show, I'm not going to be mad.
Yeah.
Just show us the Qui-Gon cut. I'm going to demand us to see the Qui-Gon cut.
Give us the Qui-Gon cut!
I want to talk Star Wars music with Tommy, but first, let's people to thank for helping us make this episode, starting with Masterclass. Thank you to Masterclass for sponsoring this episode. With Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn how to sing from Mariah Carey, improve your communication skills from George Stephanopoulos, or learn how to make a pastry from the guy who invented the cronut. With over 100 classes from a range of world-class instructors, the thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. Here at New Rockstars, we've become very fond of giving Masterclass as a gift. Producer Zach gave a subscription to his mother-in-law, and she's been just pounding through some classes. Dan Brown, Joyce Carol Oates, other mother-in-law approved masterclasses. So one of the cool things we have been exploring is a new audio mode. You can take a masterclass like you would listen to a podcast or an audiobook, learn how to write better fiction or be a better leader while you drive to the pharmacy, whatever you want to do. So I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every masterclass. And for the Wookieeleaks audience, you can get 15% off an annual membership. So go to masterclass.com/Wookie right now. That's masterclass.com/Wookie with 2 E's for 15% off Masterclass. And we want to thank Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, we are jazzed about Mint Mobile and their premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. We're jazzed about all that jazz, some might say. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. So they cut the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. We've got multiple folks on staff at New Rockstars who have switched to Mint Mobile, including editor Riley, Phillip. They have great service and they're laughing all the way to the bank with those sweet, sweet savings. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate, whether you're buying for one or buying for a whole family. And at Mint, families start at 2 lines. So all plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Wookie with 2 E's. That's mintmobile.com/Wookie. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Wookie. All right, Tommy, you and I like to talk a lot, but we also like to listen a lot to music, whether it's Being Alive or Finishing a Hat or any number of Sondheim jammers.
Yeah.
In this case, we're talking Star Wars because John Williams is returning to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, contributing the main theme of it. However, it was reported last week that Natalie Holt, the composer and violinist who did the music for Loki, Marvel's Loki on Disney Plus, will be doing most of the music composition for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series as well. And since music is so critical to Star Wars, I wanted to spend the second half of the episode on our favorite music tracks throughout the Star Wars history. The ones that carry the most narrative weight, the ones that hit us the hardest emotionally, the ones that might deserve more appreciation. So, Tommy, let's start with, of all the different Star Wars tracks, John Williams in the original trilogy, John Williams in the prequel trilogy, Michael Giacchino's work for Rogue One, the stuff from the streaming series from Clone Wars or the live-action streaming series by Ludwig Göransson. What Star Wars track do you think does the most to carry the story narratively? So that they can just use this song to just like bridge the gap between confusing or controversial plot points.
I'm going to say something that might be not a popular answer here. but this is something I always thought worked. And I think that's Rey's theme in The Force Awakens. We're immediately like just the kind of like upbeat, but like frenetic pace of the whatever. And like, you immediately know, like, this is like, you get her character. You get like, she's restless. She doesn't want to be there. We don't even know her yet, but she's got a lot to do, even though she doesn't want to do it, but she needs to get those credits so she can get her weird bread that's dehydrated.
Yeah. I mean, it probably tastes like a sponge, but damn, it looks yummy. I agree with you, Tommy. I think the Rey theme from The Force Awakens and the way it's used throughout the sequel trilogy is a beautiful piece of music, and I love it. I love hearing it. I think it has such an interesting, different texture. It does the most character development, I think, of most of the Star Wars things. Most of the Star Wars tracks have this epic cosmic implications feel to them, or this adventure spirit, or a sense of doom. This just feels very intimate, and just it feels like you're spending a quiet, private moment with the character, which is one of the reasons why those opening beats of Force Awakens are so great. For me, I think, and this is going to sound like I'm saying it's the most overused, but I'm not. I just think it's such a good track that it just, you hear it almost every episode of all the animated series. It's just the Force theme, Binary Sunset. I just think it is used so often just to imbue meaning into a moment, and it works. It works on me every time. I will never complain when you hear a Force theme leitmotif brought in to bridge the gap between two characters. Just whenever a lightsaber appears on screen, it's like you hear the Force theme come back, and it works. It always works. It draws you back into that Arthurian legend that George Lucas started the series as, and I think it has carried all Star Wars titles more than I think any other musical Sting has.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question. What do you think the most underappreciated Star Wars music is?
I think the most disrespected Star Wars music, because of how people feel about currently the maligning of these movies, is Kylo Ren's theme. That I'm singing it wrong, but you know, whatever. But I think like that initial, I forget, like in this, I have the Force Awakens soundtrack, and it's like Kylo Ren. The track is like Kylo Ren attacks or something like that, and it's just the like driving, like menacing, haunting theme song. You know, Kylo Ren's character was a little uneven, obviously, in those movies, and I felt unsatisfied, but I ultimately enjoyed the character, and I think the music was wonderful for it.
Yeah, I think the music that John Williams composed for that, the
yes, that's what I was trying to do. Yes,
it's such a chilling moment.
Yeah.
Like the hairs on the back of my neck go up whenever I hear it. I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it reminds us of the fearsomeness that character almost had at the beginning of that trilogy. I think it would have been better as a villain. It's just a completely lost. I didn't need redemption for Kylo Ren, I think, in that series.
No, because it was crazy that it was Han Solo and Leia's son, and he was awful. He was a terrible person who murdered people indiscriminately.
I mean, I don't know. I guess there's arguments that every character is worthy of redemption and that we needed to see that redemption. And some of those emotional beats in The Rise of Skywalker when Harrison Ford came back, it worked on me the first time I saw it. So I don't really know at this moment how I feel about it, but I do know I love that music. And you're right, Tommy. It is underappreciated. It's wonderful. To me, what the track that doesn't get enough love, because everyone talks about Duel of the Fates, everyone talks about the original trilogy themes. To me, that doesn't get enough love is the Across the Stars, the love theme from Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones, most people agree, is the weakest Star Wars installment. I guess I don't know if everyone agrees on that. I love the Clone Wars series that is set at the same time. And there's obviously a lot of parallels there, but just like the romantic arc between Padme and Anakin in that movie is something that it often feels a bit hard to connect with, right? But the music works so hard to connect them, and it has this great Dr. Zhivagoan feel, this connection between them that is just beautiful. I think it plays over the wedding, the secret wedding between them, and when you just listen to that music, it just like hits you in this like beautiful way. I think it stands up with some of the other love themes that John Williams has composed for this. So if you get a moment, check it out. I mean, a lot of the prequel tracks, whether it's like the Battle of the Heroes that we talked about in the Kenobi trailer, that's really great. John Williams is doing amazing work that is not the famous tracks that you recognize him the moment you hear it. All the tracks that you hear from him have some beauty and some conflict within them that are great. All right, Tommy, let's talk about the best music from a Star Wars streaming series. So this can be from Mandalorian, Bad Batch, or Clone Wars, or Boba Fett, or Rebels.
This is a no-brainer for me. I do not care how you feel about this series. I don't like that. That's not important. The end credit theme song to Book of Boba Fett, where they're just saying Boba Fett over and over again.
Boba Fett,
that's my favorite.
Hum, 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 hum. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it.
Yes.
I sat through the credits of every single one of those. It's just so rare that you hear vocals in a Star Wars track. Like you hear Duel of the Fates, you hear the chorus there. But so they bring in this chanting that just sounds so cool.
Yeah, I love it.
I love what Ludwig Göransson did for The Mandalorian. I thought it was game-changing in so many ways, especially the Grogu theme. So I think everyone kind of agrees that there's some beautiful music that Göransson created there, some instruments we had never heard in Star Wars composition before. But for me, I want to give some love to Kevin Kiner's music from the final arc of Clone Wars Season 7, the Mandalore arc. Those final 4 episodes. Specifically, just rewatch the final episode of Clone Wars Season 7. And the music just feels so bleak and terrifying in a way. It reminded me of like Blade Runner. There's a lot of synth tones. Like the moment when Maul is defeated and they're leaving, they're finally leaving Mandalore and they're bringing him back to Coruscant for trial. Ahsoka makes her goodbye with Bo-Katan, and like the music has this kind of languid, moody feel to it because you know what's coming. You know Execute Order 66 is coming. So like it shouldn't feel like a victory. It should feel like we're slowly marching toward the end of our times right now. And there's not a whole lot of dialogue in that final episode of Clone Wars. Like I think like the final act of it maybe has one line in it, and it's like Ahsoka going, "Oh no," and that's it. The rest of it is dialogue free. It's just the music carrying it, and it's one of my favorite moments that we've seen in Star Wars anything in recent years. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think the music's a huge part of that. All right, Tommy.
Yes.
What Star Wars music brings you to tears the quickest, and why?
Any song by Max Rebo. I think this is so cheesy. The Han and Leia theme always makes me a little bit misty. When they brought it back for Force Awakens, I got more than a little misty. I just love that song. Yeah, that's such a great theme.
It's beautiful for me. Yeah. For a while it was Leia's theme for me, but I think it only became Leia's theme when Carrie Fisher died. I've always loved Leia's theme. What is it? Yeah.
Wow, we really are musical today. Oklahoma.
I think really the one that has gotten me lately is Yoda's theme.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And maybe it's just the way that it's come back in The Mandalorian and in Boba Fett, but Yoda's theme. And so in Los Angeles, and Tommy, I don't know if you've ever been to this, but like every Labor Day weekend, John Williams will do a concert at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yes.
And all the Star Wars nerds come out and they bring their lightsabers, and he'll play a selection of a bunch of different scores.
Yeah,
and
he'll drop a little Harry Potter on you. He'll do some Indiana Jones. But then he gets to what you really want.
And now he just does the second act. I believe the first act is done by another great composer, David Newman, who is, I think he's the conductor of the LA Philharmonic, but he's composed, he comes from a long family of composers, starting with Alfred.
Yes, because he knew him. He knew John Williams when he was like a little boy, right? Don't they always tell
he
that
grew
story?
up. He
met him when he was 6.
He's an old family friend, and that guy was like in a way a mentor to John Williams. And I believe Alfred did the the Fox 20th Century theme. But it's an amazing thing to watch if you're ever in Los Angeles Labor Day weekend. Absolutely get a ticket. They're not too expensive, and there's no bad seat in the house at the Hollywood Bowl. It's just a nice night, a nice warm night thing to do the picnic.
Yeah, if you live in LA, it's a must do. And if you can't do that, they also usually once a year will do live to screen orchestra matching for the movies. So you can see like Return of the Jedi with the LA Philharmonic, and that's really cool as well.
Those are really fun to do too. Yeah. But I think the last one I was able to see would have been, I guess, last year. I think we went August 2021. But he played Yoda's theme, and then they glow the whole bowl green. And there's just something about the music that like can connect with you on a personal level. It's not about your connection with someone else necessarily, which is a lot of the other Star Wars songs have like an inherent relationship to them. It's about your ability to overcome an obstacle and to realize what you thought was just impossible is possible. There's so much hope in the song. And I think it's beautiful that when you're in a dark place, when you just hear that music, it fills your heart in a way that not every Star Wars song is designed to do. But this is meant to be the light that gets you out of the darkness. And I think that's why, like, whenever I hear it, I'm like, yeah, as bad as things are, there's hope, you know? Now, last one I just want to ask, best needle drop. Wow. Like, anytime this is dropped, it gets your blood.
I'm going to be a real basic boy here, and I'm going to say the Imperial March. Of course. Drop the needle. Bump. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm raising the roof. I'm dabbing for the Empire. People in the other seats next to me are begging me to stop because I'm hitting them in the face.
I love it. I will always love the Imperial March. And again, Imperial March, like the Force theme, is getting mileage in every Star Wars. Like, you watch Rebels, the amount of time the Imperial March just sneaks back in there, and Rebels are like, we get it. We know. This is a bad time for everyone.
I mean, I say it's basic, and I acknowledge it, because literally we find out in Solo, a Star Wars movie, that the Empire has co-opted the Imperial March as their theme song in their recruitment videos.
Right, yeah. And I think that's, like, I'll always love it. It's just, like, the amount of times the Imperial March has been, like, commercialized and, like, used in KFC commercials when the prequels were coming out. I was like, okay, come on. But I do love it. I will always, like, go nuts. And, like, I think that's what John Williams will do a different selection every time, but I think he'll always do the Imperial March.
You got
it. Because you can't not do it.
It's like not playing Let It Be if you're going to see Paul McCartney. Come on.
For me, it's the best needle drop is like, this is why I lost my mind when we saw the Kenobi trailers, a Duel of the Fates.
Yes.
Like
that's a great one.
Like,
yes.
And it might just be the generation of Star Wars I grew up with. I grew up with the prequels. So, like, that to me was the anthem of the prequels.
No, you're right. That's a better one just because.
I think for most people, Imperial March is probably the Star Wars.
We both kind of, those prequels were our first chance to really see new Star Wars in theaters for you and I. And, I mean, Duel of Fates was on TRL, was on Total Request, which is going to date us. But it was a music video that was like charting on the music video charts. Like a Star Wars orchestra song was charting, was rising up the music video most popular charts. It's crazy.
When I was a kid, my older siblings went to Florida State University, and we would always go to the football games there. And the marching band at Florida State is awesome. They have an amazing like arts and music department there. So there was one game where as a kid I was just like I didn't care about the game at all. I was just sitting there on the bleachers like, all right, I hate being here. This isn't for me. But then at halftime the marching band came out and played Duel of the Fates, and they had, I guess they also got the vocals department to tell all the marching band kids to all go, Gara Vata. They all sang. And then they
That's
got in
awesome.
some like stunt fighters to
Oh my God.
reenact the fight.
That is amazing.
Maul and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and I was like, ah! I screamed, like, this is awesome! It was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It just felt like Duel of the Fates was a Star Wars anthem that wasn't my dad's Star Wars. It was a Star Wars song that slapped just as hard as all
It was
those.
just
did. It was
for
just
us.
for me. It's just for us. We want to know your thoughts on all these questions. What do you think? What Star Wars track deserves more love? What Star Wars song or composition from the streaming series do you think more people should listen to or check out? And which one gets those waterworks flowing?
And who's going to
we
have the
wanna know.
balls to say the Canto Bright Casino Lounge Singers is their favorite song? Who's going to have the nutsack?
There's someone out there. There is someone out there who feels that way, and I want to hear from you. So we'll leave it there for this episode of Wookieeleaks. Don't forget to check out our great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me at EA Voss, follow Tommy at Tommy Bechtold, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to Wookieeleaks wherever you get your podcasts. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.